So my house is still a mess. It's always a mess. The cleaner comes tomorrow. It's fine. I'm so middle class. I have a cleaner. Anyway, update. So we are on day 6. Oh my god, this is so hard to do when it's mirrored. 6. And I feel really good. But now here's the thing. I went to my GP today because I should probably go back to the beginning about all of this. So back in April, I went to my GP and I came out to her and I said, look, I want to be referred to the gender identity clinic. And she went, cool, okay, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to have to look it up. And so she rang me later that afternoon, brought me in, and we spent like half an hour or so going through this incredibly long form. And she is the most painfully slow typer I have ever encountered in my life. I tell you, it was an exercise in frustration. But she got the form done and she sent it off. And so that was April, and I knew from reading online that the delay, the wait for the NHS is 24 months plus. So it was 2 years just to be talked to, just to be seen, just for them to say, hi, how are you, who are you? It's probably closer now to about 3 years because the wait list just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. There's not that many gender identity clinics. There's not that many actual clinicians. And the NHS is in absolute crisis anyway. So it's a very, very, very small specialisation within an institution that is already struggling. So understandably, it's a long wait, which sucks. So I waited, and I never heard back. I thought, have they got my referral? And so in September, I rang the GIC and I said, have you got my referral? And they said, oh, yeah, we've got it. We just haven't gotten to it yet. We've got a huge backlog. They have to go to the panel. The panel has to read them. And then you'll be sent a letter saying that we've got your referral. But at the moment, it's taking about 6 months. 6 months have come and gone, and still nothing. I'm assuming they're still going through the pile. But it is concerning because you're sort of thinking, oh, did the panel decide that I wasn't trans enough or something? But in the meantime, my mental health declined very, very badly. And so I thought, well, I can't continue like this. Something's got to give. So I looked it up, I got the money together, and I went privately to Gender Care. I went and saw Dr. Lorimer. And at the time they were saying, look, we're not taking new patients, we're absolutely overwhelmed, probably because everyone, much like me, was going, I can't wait 3 years. So I was kind of told, we can't see you. And I got this reply from quite a lot of them. The one that did reply to me wanted me to change my name by default, wanted me to change my gender marker and do all of this before she'd even see me. And I was like, what? That's stupid and dangerous. No, I'm not doing it. And so I refused. I didn't like that attitude. It was very old-fashioned, very kind of crappy and not actually what the guidelines say. I kind of am of the opinion that until I pass as male, it's not safe for my ID to say I'm male because that will just out me to everyone, and that's a bad thing. You don't want to be outed to random strangers just in case, Anyway, so I went. I went on the cancellation list. If anyone cancels, see me. And they said, oh, how soon can you come? And I said, well, give me 24 hours, I can come in. It's just London. It's like, half an hour's train ride for me. So I got a email that night that I went on that list saying, oh, we've got one on the Friday. I think it was Tuesday at that point. We've got one on Friday, but it's at 8:30 in the morning on the other side of London. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get up at 6 in the morning to get there, because I have to get into London and then I have to get all the way across to where they are in time. Shit. And I was like, okay, I can do it, My husband was like, just do it. So I did. And so I went into London as the sun rose. It was really surreal. And got there actually before the doctor. But anyway, met up with him, had my therapy session, whatever you want to call it. And it was quite good. It was just sort of like asking general questions. It was actually a lot more minimal than I thought it would be. I thought it would be quite a lot more intrusive. But at the end of it, he said, yeah, cool, pending your blood results, I am happy to put on testosterone. And I was like, yay! yay! I already had blood results because I have ongoing hormonal issues anyway, so I'd already had a load of blood tests done, because we're trying to find a solution to my pain that didn't involve transition. So it was kind of like I wanted to rule out that issue. My hands keep going out frame. I want to rule out that issue first and then move on to the gender thing. And so I'd done that, so I already had these bloods, and so I sent those over, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, because honestly, the transgender thing, you spend 90% of your time just sitting on your hands, unable to do anything, just waiting. And eventually, they got back to me and said, yeah, your bloods are all good. I'm going to send all this paperwork to your doctor. I'm going to send all this paperwork to you and send you the first prescription, because quite a lot of NHS GPs are a bit funny about doing the first prescription because they don't really know how to do it. They've not really ever dealt with transgender patients, and it's technically off license, so it's not technically what the drug is typically prescribed for on the NHS. Sorry, my voice is going. I don't know if it's a cold or if it's the testosterone. I don't know. Oh my god. That's quite funny. But anyway, so that was fine. The idea was that I would then go to my GP and I'd say, look, I've got this prescription, can you convert it into an NHS prescription? Because then it would cost me substantially less, NHS prescriptions are £9 as opposed to approximately 50 quid a month for private prescription. So it's a significant saving. And so that was today. So I went into my GP and I said, look, okay, here's how it is. This is the letter. I've got this official diagnosis. This is the same guy I would see on the NHS, because he also works for the NHS. He also works for the GIC that I have been referred to. He is literally the guy that I would see in 3 years' time. Same person. He says, yes, I have gender dysphoria. Yes, I'm okayed for testosterone. He's talked to the endocrinologist. It's all good. I have the prescription. Can you do a repeat on it next month through the NHS? No. Now, to my doctor's credit, she's lovely. But she's fighting against a system that isn't fit for purpose. And this is not the first time that she's really struggled to do something for me. She said, yeah, I'd love to do shared care. I'm absolutely fine with doing a bridging prescription, but recently our pharmacist, they have a pharmacist attached to the surgery or something, has come in and said, you cannot prescribe this, or this. You have to justify everything you prescribe because we do not have enough money. And so they're basically accounting every single thing they prescribe, and so they're not allowed to prescribe anything over the counter. So they're not allowed to prescribe paracetamol to pensioners, which she was very annoyed about, because they get free prescriptions. So even though paracetamol's cheap, quite a lot of them, they don't have the money, or they can't get out to the. So they can't do that. They can't prescribe over the counter stuff to pregnant women or to children. Again, get free prescriptions, and they also have been told they're not allowed to convert private prescriptions into NHS prescriptions. I suppose the logic is if you've got the money to go private, you've got the money to pay for your fucking prescription, which isn't necessarily the case. Quite a lot of the time you go private because you're just so damn desperate. It's 300 quid just to see one of the specialists, and then I've got to go and see another one in a few months' time, which will be another 300 just to get this started, right? It's insane. They would only give me the testosterone if I agreed to see this other doctor, so I had to kind of agree to spend another. It's a huge amount of money, and so it's fair enough in a way, but it's also incredibly frustrating. I'm in a privileged position that I can afford, sort of, mostly, to pay for that prescription every month, but I'd rather not have to, because it's 50 quid a month, which is a lot of money, and it's quite a lot of money for us because we're on quite a low income. Now, we're not on a low enough income that we get income support or we get free prescriptions. We still have to pay for our prescriptions, but it is enough that it will impact how much we have left at the end of the month. I'm going to have to budget it and see, exactly where it puts it. I think we should be okay. It's just, it's not great. being able to do it through the NHS would be a hell of a lot more convenient. But also because I'd just be able to go to the pharmacy and go, I need a repeat, and they'd be able to just generate it, rather than having to constantly go back to the private doctor and saying, hi, I need a repeat, and wait for him to reply and send it via the post. So it is very time consuming and quite stressful. I'm trying to stay positive about it, because I mean, at least I'm in this position where I can afford to actually pay for this medication. I mean, a lot of people are not in that position. A lot of people cannot afford to go private, cannot afford to pay the 50 quid a month for the prescription on top of that, can't afford to have the bloods done or anything like that. They just can't afford to do it. And so they're stuck waiting for 2 to 3 years. And understandably, that is incredibly bad for your mental health. And so, honestly, I don't know how people do it. I don't think I would have lasted. So, as it stands, my GP is going to talk to the pharmacist or accountant or whoever the hell they are and ask them whether this particular drug is something that she can do a bridging prescription for under shared care. It all depends on how sympathetic the person doing the accounting is. Now, there's no obligation on the NHS for them to give me a drug just because a specialist says I need a drug. They are under no obligation to give me HRT. None at all. It is best practice that they should. The NICE guidelines say that they should. But it entirely comes down to the discretion of the surgery. So right now I'm kind of in that limbo state of not really knowing if I'm going to get it through the NHS or if I'm going to have to keep doing private. And so I contacted private doctor and I said to him, look, this is the situation. Can you just, for the next few months, just do a private prescription for me just to tide me over? Because the last thing I want is to run out and not be able to get any more. That would be catastrophic for my health. Weaning off of testosterone once my body's become used to it, and then having my ovaries start working again and getting all the estrogen poisoning again. It's just going to be horrific, and I don't want to have to deal with it. Because my body reacts very, very, very poorly to estrogen anyway. I just really don't react well to it. Even the stuff I naturally produce, my body hates it. It's really weird. And so at the moment, I'm just kind of waiting because that's what you do. And yeah, so it's a bit stressful, it's a bit annoying, but she has agreed to do the bloods, which is great, because as I pointed out, making sure that I'm safe on this drug is the most important thing. And so in 3 to 6 months time I need to have some bloods done, just to make sure that my T levels are where they should be, that my estrogen levels are, not up there, that they're suppressed, and that my liver, my kidneys, everything is fine and happy. I also need to keep an eye on my blood pressure because I suffer from hypertension, and hormones can make that a lot worse. Now, estrogen, I am actually banned from taking anything that contains estrogen because it causes my blood pressure to spike. And that spike leaves me at a very high risk of stroke. So there's a little bit of concern with the testosterone that it might do the same thing. And so I'm having to monitor my blood pressure just to make sure, and if it starts to spike, then I have to, really start considering my options. But it seems to be okay. I mean, it was quite high at the doctor's, but then it was a stressful situation. When I came home and I did it, it was fine. So fingers crossed. I've got my beta blockers again because I'd run out. So fingers crossed it will be okay, because that's kind of the nightmare scenario, is that I have a bad reaction to the testosterone after it's made me feel so much better, and then I'm told I can't take it for health reasons. I'll be like, no! So I really don't want that to happen. So I've just got to kind of hope that it's going to be okay. As it stands, I'm on day 6. I am feeling amazing. I still have a headache. I know, right? I still have a headache, and I'm still spotting on and off, which is frickin' annoying. But I think that's just all of my hormones sort of just readjusting and getting used to the whole thing. It's going to take a while for everything to just adjust. But in terms of my mood, in terms of my mental health, in terms of my stability, I actually feel really far more stable than I've felt in a very long time, far more able to cope with things. It's quite weird, actually, because I didn't expect it to be quite this pronounced. Yeah, it's really odd. It's like when I started taking antidepressants, a fog lifted and everything changed, but there was still a degree of plodding through life, and now it's like antidepressants plus the steroids, and it's like extra ultra lifting you, and it's weird, and it's kind of cool because I didn't expect it to be so sudden, to be so quick, and I didn't expect to feel so level. I kind of, I don't know, I don't know what I expected really. I kind of expected to not really feel anything for like a good month or so. But within a few days, I felt amazing, and it's just continued to feel really, psychologically better, which was the big hope that I had, because the majority of my dysphoria manifested as mental health problems, as depression, as low self-esteem, as low self-worth, as biochemical issue that made me feel sick and trapped in my body and wanting to just sort of curl up and die, and to not feel that, even though I'm still in pain, even though my body is still really struggling, I feel more able to move forward with that, to just suck it up and cope, rather than just wanting to die, which is really interesting, and it's quite telling that I'm at the point in my cycle where I'd usually be at my lowest. My mood would be absolutely the worst, because this is the point in the cycle where all of my hormones have dipped, and estrogen's starting to build up, and everything is just kind of miserable. And yet, I feel fine. I'm dealing with stress better. I'm dealing with disappointment better. I am just more able to cope with life. And I'm like, oh my God, is this how it is? That you can just go, oh, it's alright, it doesn't matter. And it's so weird not to take everything so heavily, and not just constantly be drowning. It's really weird. And, I mean, it's amazing, but it's also really weird. So, I mean, I'm hoping that continues, and I'm hoping that I'm okay on this. But in a way, it's incredible that something as simple as just this gel that you just put on your shoulder every morning can make such a difference. And I haven't really got any physical changes yet. That will be a while. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm actually quite curious as to how everything will happen, because I should slim down here, which would be nice to not have hamster cheeks. And hopefully my swelling will go down. See the swelling in my fingers? This is from estrogen. As I said, my body hates estrogen. Apparently, according to my endocrinologist, that is estrogen retention. Yep, fluid retention. It never goes away. And so hopefully a lot of the edema will clear up, which would be amazing. I would love to lose the edema. Hopefully the headaches will subside as everything adjusts. Hopefully the other PMS symptoms will subside. Hopefully I will start feeling more confident. Hopefully my fat will start redistributing, so this will get slimmer. My hips will get a little bit slimmer. I'll start carrying more weight in my gut. I already do carry quite a lot of weight in my gut because I do both, but whatever. But it'll be cool. And I'm curious to know how deep my voice ends up going as well. That's going to be really, really funny. Particularly if it keeps cracking. It's just going to be hilarious. Particularly as my eldest child is going through puberty at the moment. And it's really funny to be able to share puberty with your child. It's a really surreal situation. That he's going through puberty, but then you are as well. And it's like, hey, we both have this happening. It's really hilarious. And so, sorry, I've got something in my eye. And so, yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, 6 days on T, and I feel really good. Hooray! Fingers crossed the NHS can get the shit together. But if they don't, at least I have a private prescription. So, I'm not up shit creek without a paddle, so to speak. So I should be alright. And now I've got to go to school and do an incredibly tedious meeting, so I will sign off and see you later.